everybody. Welcome to the Evening Reader. My name is Priscilla. Whew. How is everyone? How are you out there? I am back from my trip to the States and feeling really jet lagged and kind of whacked out. I don't know what day it is really. I think it's Wednesday. Yeah, it must be Wednesday. Tomorrow is King's Day here in the Netherlands, which is a huge national holiday. Big, like party here in Amsterdam. It's like a city party. Kind of a tradition is to have markets. I think that's really what King's Day was more about for a long time. Sort of a community day, and people go out and sort of have like a giant flea market or citywide garage sales, if you will, although without the garages. So people put out anything that they want to sell. So things they want to get rid of. So you'd think it would be a good time to go out and maybe look for some books. But here in Amsterdam, oftentimes it's very hard to make your way even down the street because there are a lot of parties. There are a lot of progressive parties. And there are also a lot of people out just kind of selling drinks and food and different things. But there's also like families and kids out selling stuff. But it can be a challenge. I think it's going to be very busy this year. Last year, we were just coming off of COVID. We had just come out of lockdown at the end of March or the end of February, maybe. But it was still relatively quiet. I think France was still under lockdown at that time, and Germany. So people weren't necessarily really traveling, but this year it is already so busy and really crowded. So I think, and we went to lunch today, and there were a lot of people who were clearly tourists because of different languages. So and big groups. I think tomorrow may be really busy. I don't know how busy it'll be on our street. Last year it was really busy, but our next door neighbors had a big market, and then 2 doors down, they had a DJ and a dance party. So that's what I mean. It can be really tough to get down the street. It's fun to walk down the street. But post-COVID times and whatnot, getting caught in some of those crowds, one year I got caught in a crowd. Actually, I think it may have been Pride and not King's Day. It was so bad. I mean, I felt crushed, and I was like, it was so crowded and people were pushing so hard that I was lifted off my feet and kind of moved along. That's scary. So it can get a little scary. So we may go out and walk around a little bit on just on our street, but I think we're just planning to be really quiet and kind of stay home and maybe just sit on our stoop and watch people go by because it's kind of fun people watching, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah. So, man, I just wanted to do this little catch-up video. I don't really have ton to talk about, but I think I'll talk about a little bit about what I read. Not everything I read. I read 5 books on vacation, which is spectacular for me, and really enjoyed all of them. I read my second book for People, April, which was Why Karen Carpenter Matters. I read my second book for Trans Girl, April, which was The Death of Vivek Oji. And then I was kind of feeling moody. I was thinking I might read Say Nothing by, I can't remember the guy's name, Patrick Keefe, Radden Keefe. I'll put it there. I was going to read that, and I did start reading it, but I wasn't in the mood for it. And so I decided to pick up Rodham by Curtis Sittenfeld. So I read that, and then I read The Uncommon Reader by Alan Bennett, just because I saw Steve Donahue going through his bookshelves, and he had pulled that out and just started talking about how delightful it was and that he had reread it, or maybe he was going to reread it. And that was one of those moments where I was like, you know what? I just want to read that. I just want to read this book about Queen Elizabeth becoming a reader. Sorry, adjusting my camera. And so I did. I bought it, and I bought it on Google Books, actually. I always forget that I can buy books on Google Books and not Amazon or Kindle. Not that I'm strict about that or anything, but yeah, anyway. So I bought it and read it in a day. And because it's very short, it's just a little novella, and we'll probably definitely be picking that up again because it was just fantastic. It was just one of those books where you read it and it just, everything about it just makes you feel warm and kind of cozy and just really awesome. And I just can see myself going back to that book again and again. If you haven't read it, it really is about Queen Elizabeth. And she's walking along one day, she's walking her dogs, and she sees a mobile library parked outside the kitchens of Buckingham Palace, and she goes into the mobile library, and the next thing you know, she's picked up a book. She's taken a book down, a book by Ivy Compton Burnett, and she doesn't totally get on with that book, but she decides that she needs to take it back, and then the next thing she knows, she's taking more books and more books, and she starts to become a reader. And it's sort of her journey becoming a reader, and then she's been reading, and then she starts to also take notes, and she begins to keep a journal. And it's just such a warm and wonderful book. And I mean, I'm not necessarily a person who's that interested in the royal family. I mean, they're interesting from an historical standpoint, but I'm not like a person who follows the gossip. I'm not interested in reading the celebrity royal family memoirs and those kinds of things, especially of the recent stuff. But this book was just so lovely. So yeah, I really recommend that one. And then I read Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. Yeah. So that's what I was going to talk about. So while I was in Dallas, I actually got a chance to go to Half Price Books. I did not go to the big Half Price Books. No, I was right next to it. I was at the, if you're familiar with where that is in Dallas, it's on Northwest Highway. I was at the big REI that was literally right across the street, small street from it, Shady Brook Lane. And I, for the sake of my family and for the sake of my marriage, I did not go to Half Price Books, to the big one, because I probably could have spent very many hours in there browsing and reading, and I probably could have carried away a lot of books, but I was there to visit my family, not to go book shopping. So not that my family, my mom or my dad, would necessarily object to spending an afternoon in a bookstore, but I don't really like to. There's a gnat. Sorry. Look, it's the jet lag. This is the jet lag. Cracking myself up. Okay. They would, but I like to just be kind of quiet and look at things and not visit. And so that wouldn't really be a visit if I was just doing my own thing. So, and for the sake of my marriage, it would be me hauling a bunch of books home in the suitcase. And I'm really the one, that's not really fair because my husband would not care. I am the, don't bring that. Don't bring that. Do we need to bring that? I like to keep it to one, like just one suitcase. Keep it, like my husband even brought an extra backpack this time. And I was like, do we really need that extra backpack? We don't really need it. Because I hate dealing with luggage. So I did buy 3 books. I bought 3 books, and then I brought home a couple of other books. One that my mom gave to me because I pulled it off her shelf and thought it looked interesting, and then one that my mother-in-law gave to me, which was a cool gift. So yeah. So this is going to be really rambly. I'm not even going to try to pretend like it's not going to be rambly. So yeah, the books that I bought, and they still have the stickers on them actually, I bought Sisterland by Curtis Sittenfeld because I just want to read all the Curtis Sittenfeld. They also had one, I think it's called Engaged. Is that on here? Does it say? That I think is like a Jane Austen retelling. I haven't heard the best things about that one. It's the one I'm least interested in, but I'll probably end up reading it anyway. Oh, and then also she has The Man of My Dreams. I don't know anything about that one. Those two I don't know much about. This one sounded pretty good. It says, growing up in St. Louis, Missouri, Kate and her identical twin sister Violet are extremely close, sharing a room, weathering the eccentricities, hello, of their parents, and delighting in the music and movies of their 1980s childhood. I don't know if this video is actually going to make it. But in junior high, Kate makes a fateful decision that drives the sisters apart. Years later, Vi is living on the fringes of society, while Kate, a devoted wife and mother, is doing everything she can to fit into suburban life. After a chance occurrence in the middle of the night, the sisters find themselves drawn together once again, forced to face the secrets of the past. As the sense of order Kate has worked so hard to create in her adult life begins to falter, it's not clear whether Vi, the one person who knows her best, will save Kate or be her undoing. So this sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. Yeah. And then I bought Things in Jars by Jess Kidd. Yeah, sorry, the sticker's still there. Because Angelia has been reading some Jess Kidd books and was talking about them. And this actually was the first Jess Kidd I put on my TBR on Goodreads, because I looked on Goodreads to see what I wanted to read, which one I had put down first. And it was this one, which I put on there a couple of years ago, actually. And they had Himself, and they had another one. I don't remember which one it is, but this was the one that I decided to pick up because of the TBR. So it sounds pretty good. Bridie Devine, detective extraordinaire, is confronted with her most baffling puzzle yet: the kidnapping of Christabel Berwick, secret daughter of Sir Edmund Ethelstan Berwick, a peculiar child whose reputed supernatural powers have captured the attention of collectors who trade in curiosities in this age of discovery. Winding her way through the sooty streets of Victorian London, Bridie won't rest until she finds Christabel, even if it means unearthing part of her own past that she'd rather keep buried. But secrets abound in this foggy underworld where nothing is quite what it seems. Anyway, this sounds really fun. It sounded really fun to me a long time ago when I put it on the TBR. And so I'm looking forward to reading this. Oh, look at this. Someone's put some kind of tea kettle card. Things found in books. Do you find things found in used books or something? I think that there's a Instagram account that has that. She specifically goes to used bookstores and looks for things in used books. So kind of cool. It's a little card about tea, something about tea kettle, some kind of tea kettle designed on our farm in Aurora, New York. Wow. Okay. Well, that made it a way. I wonder if somebody was using that as a bookmark. Anyway, so anything in this one? No. Okay. So then this reason I went to Half Price Books was to buy Curtis Sittenfeld's book, Romantic Comedy. Here comes a cover rant. Okay, this is a Cash for Books new bestseller. Enjoy then sell to Half Price Books. Half Price Books put this sticker on here. But then there is a Reeses book club. This is not a sticker. This is on the cover. This is a first edition. This is a first edition of this book. And I almost didn't buy it because of this. Why? Why does this have to be printed on the cover? Man, that just kind of... I'm not laughing now. No, seriously, that was really annoying. So that's what I bought at Half Price Books. And then the book I picked up at my mom's house is The Geographer's Library. I had never heard of this book by John Fasman. And it says, let's see, when a reclusive scholar dies under obscure circumstances, reporter Paul Tom is assigned to write his obituary. But when the coroner in the case is murdered, Tom finds himself pursuing a story that began 900 years ago with the theft of alchemical instruments from the court geographer of Sicily. As Tom investigates their present whereabouts, we are introduced to these charmed and sometimes cursed artifacts and the men and women who coveted them in ages past. a Genoese merchant, a Soviet engineer, an elderly Chinese father. For the objects in the geographer's library have powers that go well beyond the transmutation of lead into gold. I just thought this sounded really kind of fun, kind of like fun historical fiction. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I've never heard of this author, and I had never heard of this book, but I was drawn to it. So yeah, so my mom was nice enough to give it to me so I could read it. Yeah, and then I'm not sure how well this is going to show up on camera. I got this Harvey's Revised English Grammar, Harvey's language course, published by the American Book Company. And it has a little stamp. This belonged to Floyd S. Vandergrift, who I guess is a relative of my mother-in-law's. And this was published in copyright 1878. So just a very, very cool old English grammar book. This was somebody's grammar book in the schoolhouse. I'm just so fascinated by that. I just think that is really cool. And check this out. Sentence diagramming. I was quite the sentence diagrammer in my day. I excelled at it. I loved it. Well, yes. Does that surprise you? I somehow doubt that surprises you. So, wow, this video is going on way too long. So I was going to talk about Rodham and romantic comedy, but I guess I'll save it for another day. Yeah, we'll just call this a book haul, check-in thing. I've got a couple of tag videos to do, and I've got my wrap-up to do for Transgirl April, People April, and my general April wrap-up. Wrapping up. Maybe it was not a great idea to try to film a video with jet lag, but here it is. So anyway, happy to be back. I am behind on watching and commenting, but I will do my best to get around. I don't know, does that really matter to anybody? I'm not sure. You know, I don't know if that does or not, but anyway, yeah, I tried to keep up. I did watch some videos, like, because I was getting up at like 5 or 5:30 and just kind of having coffee and tried on some mornings I read, and then some mornings I watched videos and commented. So, you know, but I'm still behind. Anyway, so let me know if any of these books sound interesting. Let me know if you've read any of these books. I will, like I said, I'll probably do maybe like a video on the Curtis Sittenfeld, because I can talk about her. I've read a lot of her other books and I can just talk about her. And then I will do my other event wrap-ups, and I hope to see you all on one of those videos. And I'll just stop here now. But let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you're reading. And I hope that you're having a good day. And I will see you sometime this weekend. Okay, take care. Bye.